This is Passport Planet. I'm back, and today I'm going to show you one of the most beautiful places to visit in the world. I really thought Paris was great until I got here. But is it really manageable to visit Venice in a 24-hour time span? Sit tight and watch as I give you a basic rundown of a place that is built on 118 islands connected by canals and with over 400 bridges where no cars can go in this historic center. The goal of this video isn't to make you jealous at all, but to get online, book a ticket, and immerse yourself in so much history and scenery. When we finished our week-long MSC Mediterranean cruise along the Adriatic Sea, our disembarkment was at the Venice seaport. There was coach buses right outside the ship, taking you into Venice and at the designated drop-off point, which I'm going to show you in a minute, of exactly where this coach bus goes. And it'll take you right to a shuttle boat, and that'll take you into Venice itself. And I did a lot of research to figure this out, so I wanted to make sure I did a video explaining and also taking a screenshot video of my Google Maps to make it a lot easier for everyone. So in case anyone is taking a cruise and wants to get into the historic center of Venice, watch this and it'll become 10 times easier and you don't have to do all the research that I had to do. When we got off the coach bus, there were clearly marked signs of where you can get the water taxi into the historic center of Venice. It was about a 2-minute walk where the coach bus was to where the ticket booth was, and it's €10 one way per person. And here you see the yellow water taxi. There was a line of where you would go and wait, and we waited maybe 10 minutes to board. And here's where you're eventually going to go through and wait for the yellow taxi, which is right over there in the corner. And ultimately our end stop again is San Marco, which is the historic center of Venice, which is the heart of Venice. And here's a map showcasing that of where we are now and where we're going to ultimately end up at. So I'm going to do my best here to explain everything so you can get a better view. So right here is where the cruise ship came in. So this is where we arrived with MSC, okay? And what we did was we took a bus that got us onto this highway. We went into here, crossed this big bridge, and we ended right here, okay? From here, we then took the water taxi. Here, you can see these lines. We went all the way in and we stopped right about there. And I'm going to zoom in so you can see it a little bit better. So here's where the water taxi is. We got on it and we went right into San Marco where I said that sign was. And I'm going to do my best here. So we went past the Basilica Santa Maria, and you'll see on the video here in a minute of when I took the video of where the sea boat went. And it ends right here, right next to San Marco Plaza. My advice is to take out your camera and take some awesome photos because you'll see some historic sites that you might not even realize are important. And the cool thing is that on your iPhone, whenever you take a photo or video, it puts it on the Apple map and it'll show you exactly where you took that photo. And here's the Basilica Santa Maria that I showed you just prior on the Google Maps. And the whole trip from beginning to now end, where we're about ready to get off, took about 15 minutes. And here's where I needed to find my bearings because we had all of our luggage with us. Now I'm going to explain something very important to everybody. If you have a lot of luggage and you have a little bit of cash on you that you don't mind spending, take another water taxi depending on where your hotel is. Google Maps showed us that we had about a 40-minute walk, and with cobblestone streets and with a ton of people, it would have been a nightmare. So we spent unfortunately $70 to take a water taxi to pretty much right outside our hotel. And they had a ton of small personal water taxis where we got dropped off at, so it's easy to get one. To me, it was worth it. We got amazing pictures and videos, and it felt like we were doing a canal cruise, even though it was a taxi. Seeing and smelling Venice, and yes, the smells were not pleasant at times, is now a reality, and it was finally sinking in, and I'm finally in Venice, somewhere where I've always wanted to visit. So hopefully with everyone seeing this, you'll realize that, yeah, you don't want to spend $70 on a taxi, but you can see here in this video that it's so much more than just that. And after a 20-minute taxi ride that felt like it was 5 minutes because how amazing the scenery was, we finally arrived at our nice boutique hotel, where I was greeted by this guy right here, who complimented me on my watch randomly. But I won't bore you with all the details of this hotel, but it was a very nice place that was privately owned that gave us amazing recommendations of what to do, what to see. I booked the suite mainly because there was the three of us, my mom and my daughter. They had put an extra bed in for my 11-year-old daughter, that is, so that way she could sleep on the left-hand side there. The room was absolutely beautiful. For a city where space is luxury, this place was stunning. We got situated, we freshened up, and the concierge lady at the front desk recommended that we go visit the world-famous Murano glass factory. They offered us a free water taxi back and forth to visit there, where we could see how they blow the glass and showcase some of the world's prized glass art collection. Well, we all know nothing is free in life, so they gave us that free water taxi back and forth in hopes that we'll buy something there. In front of the hotel, conveniently, there was a gondola station, and we waited there for the water taxi to pick us up to take us to the factory. And here's the Murano factory, and yes, if you guessed it, it's on the island of Murano, which is outside of Venice. Before I show you the Murano glass factory itself and the art of glass blowing, I wanted to share a few fun facts. Glass making has existed since the 10th century in Venice and is obviously still in operation today. In 1921, the Venice government banned any furnaces from central Venice. So the factory had to be moved to the island of Murano, and this was largely part due to the fear of fires and the wooden structures of a crowded Venice. I could go on and on about some fun facts, but I want you to watch how they do this. It's simply incredible.
Use copper for blue, copper for green, cadmium for yellow, and in particular to get the red, we use gold and selenium. Yeah, now you can tell the color are amalgamate. Normally together with spirit in the glass will take 8 to 12 years.
They were extremely strict and did not allow anybody to take any photos or videos of the massive showroom, but I was able to take a few photos from the internet just to give you a glimpse of how decadent the store was, from chandeliers to cups and then jewelry. When we were getting the water taxi back to Venice, all of a sudden an Armageddon of a cloud came through, and it almost looked like a tornado. So we had to sit and wait for 20 minutes until the storm went through. Now, I know there's a ton of videos out there of how to navigate Venice, what to see in Venice. I'm going to show you a map of what I think are the key spots that are a must-see, the stuff that my mom and my daughter and I loved, and especially if you're crunched for time, these are the spots you have to see. So here's a map that I could find on Google that kind of gives you a good overview of Venice itself. Here you have the Grand Canal, which goes through all of Venice. Okay, and here are some of the key highlights of downtown Venice and Venice itself and the historic center. St. Mark's Square is a must-see. Rialto Bridge, which is probably the most photographed spot in all of Venice, is definitely something that you have to see. And you have that Calatrava Bridge, and then down here the Santa Maria Cathedral here. That's, remember, in the beginning of the video where I showed you when our taxi went through here, and then we ended up right here. So it's a very short distance to St. Mark's Square, and definitely, if you want, take a picture of this. This is definitely something that I thought was going to be beneficial to my viewers of what you wanted to see and while you're in Venice for either a short period of time or if you're there for 4 or 5 days. And here's the famous Rialto Bridge. And of course, we were here in the busiest time of the year in the beginning of August. So expect a lot of crowds. We were, although, able to get some great photos. The crowds came and went, so in the downtime, we were able to get some awesome shots of my daughter and my mother and I. And as we walked up the Rialto Bridge, I just had to take a step back and just immerse myself in the scenery and really enjoy this historic city. And it's something I am not taking for granted at all. And here, as you could tell, the streets were incredibly busy. You just had to embrace it. I knew it was going to be busy. I knew it was the busiest time of the entire year in Venice, and we made the best of it. And it wasn't bad at all. And after that Armageddon of a storm, Venice dropped down into the 60s Fahrenheit, that is, which was extremely cold for that time of year, which I wasn't complaining about. And a lot of the fun, believe it or not, wasn't just going to the historical sites in Venice, but it was just to walk around and window shop. This is something that I normally don't see in New York because they definitely don't have these kind of boutiques and shops. So doing some window shopping was definitely a lot of fun. And unfortunately, the window shopping didn't last that long as we were suckered into Louis Vuitton, and that tax refund made it pretty nice. And even my mother bought a bag. They engraved my initials on the machine, and we had a very memorable experience. My daughter, not so much. She was a little bored, but we made the best of it. And after exhausting my credit card, I needed a little pick-me-up, and I got myself a double espresso to continue on the day. If you have the time, hang out here, relax, go to a coffee shop or a tea room, and just take in all the views. It is the busiest part of all of Venice. And while I was here, I was even able to get a cool photo with the police. And a little fun fact, St. Mark's Square is known as the drawing room and is also the lowest area to sea level in all of Venice. When Napoleon conquered Venice in 1797, he described St. Mark's Square as the world's most beautiful drawing room. I don't know if this is true or not, but I've read you can be fined for eating and drinking in the square itself. But be rest assured there are plenty of cafes and restaurants dotted along the side of the public square, and I highly recommend walking by them and sitting down and listening to some great Venetian music. We've done about 4 miles of walking today, and there was one last thing that needed to be done in Venice. And if you don't do it, why even visit Venice? Yes, I'm talking about a gondola ride. And I will tell you, it's going to be very expensive, as you could see here. It is all government regulated by Venice. And as you can see here, you're going to have to open up your pockets. They only accept cash, and it's 90 euros during the day, and in the evening, it's 110. I'm not going to lie, I did hesitate for a minute because the gondola rides are only for about 20 minutes. And if you want to go into the heart of Venice, you're going to spend at least 130 euros. So we ended up not wanting to spend 130 euros to do the Grand Canal tour, these smaller canals, which by St. Mark's Square. So we ended up walking to our hotel, and right outside of our hotel were the gondoliers. The people who are gondoliers are usually passed down from generation to generation, and they must pass rigorous exams, and they only give out a few licenses per year. It is a sacred 1,000-year-old guild, and the gondoliers can make up to over $200,000 per year. Sadly, our 20-minute gondola ride came to an end right out front of our hotel there, and it felt like it lasted only 5 minutes. It was truly a memorable experience. And I can't believe we're here finally at the end of this video. I was hoping to make this only a 12-minute video, and right now we're almost at 20. So sadly, we're at the end. In conclusion, I will leave you with this. Is Venice manageable to see in 24 hours? It is, but is it practical? Not really. In my opinion, I think you need at least 3 days to enjoy this magnificent, ancient city and all of its wonders. I am blessed to be able to check off this city as one of the places I've always wanted to visit, and I will be honest, this is up there as one of the most beautiful Baroque and romantic places that I recommend anyone to visit. And in my opinion, I would avoid July and August if you can, because those are the highest and busiest months. Thank you for the memories, Venice, and hopefully when my daughter gets older, she could treat me this time and take me. This is Passport Planet. Thank you for watching, and I hope you hit the like and subscribe button because there are plenty more videos coming.